Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got a good one for you today. Right now, we're looking at a 46-cent XRP. I'll let you look at that while we go over the highlights for today. Right now, we're going to talk about India and their crypto ban, and it's good for crypto, too. We're going to talk about the U.S. government passes a stimulus. It is long overdue. Number 3, SEC caught talking out both sides of their mouth when it comes to Ripple and XRP. We'll get into it. Number 4, we got Ripple continues to expand and higher, and it's a big deal because it lays in line with the idea that there is a lot more evidence out here that XRP is poised for a massive explosion because it already has mass adoption. We're going to talk about that, and there's a foreboding warning from a serious investor about Bitcoin versus central banks. Let's roll that beautiful intro. Here we go.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradley above at the top of the screen and everything that we're talking about here today. Let's go ahead and get into it. This is a piece of art that has been made into a non-fungible token and sent out to the person here who bought it. Shout out to Jeremy Pereira. I don't know. Please forgive me. I messed your name up. But shout out to you, my friend. And congratulations for passing 100,000 subscribers, apparently. But this artwork right here is a collection from Beeble, the artist Beeble. And he has bought the one and only NFT of that art, and he owns it. And it's pretty amazing. You can watch the unboxing here that he has shared, and you can check it out for yourself. But NFTs are absolutely exploding, and I really do believe, for the first time since the inception of the internet itself, artists, songwriters, producers, anyone who owns intellectual property is about to get a lot of their worth back in a way of creating and generating revenue that was absolutely lost and turned on its head prior to the internet itself. So this to me is very exciting for those reasons, and it's just very exciting. Now, to go along with that, it is March Madness with Unstoppable Domains. Every week they are releasing brand new, for the first time, .cryptos and making them available. Gambling.crypto. I mean, that has been bought and it's been going up and up and up. I mean, sports.crypto, surfer.crypto, rugby.crypto. This to me is very analogous to the .com days. Remember back in the .com era, insurance.com, just like a industry word that anyone could use, sold for more than $30 million. Now, I'm not suggesting that these will, but obviously these have more functionality as .cryptos because you can send value through the domain name itself. So that to me is pretty remarkable. So make sure you check these out. There's a link in the description box and the comment section for everything that I offer. So, all right. So no blanket ban. This is coming from Michael Val 5 link. Shout out to you, my friend. No blanket ban on the horizon with an open window for experimentation in India, says a person there. And it's yet another crypto ban turns out to be temporary FUD. That's right. We've seen India especially go back and forth on banning crypto and not banning crypto. And it looks here that they've finally reached a place where they're going to allow crypto to happen. I'm sure they're going to have some kind of framework that keeps it in some kind of boundaries so it doesn't get too crazy there. But nevertheless, I don't see many countries missing out on where all of this is going. Now, speaking of missing out, there has been the stimulus that has been, long overdue, and I might say not enough for people, to be honest with you. It is to no one's fault that the world's economy was deliberately shut down. Now, you can sit down and argue why and all these things as much as you want to, but I'm not interested. The point is that's what's happened, and it isn't fair, and I know the world's not fair, but, when you turn the lights off on a global economy and then just have people sitting out here, coming from, a long time career as a professional musician, I have a lot of professional musician friends in the entertainment industry that have been decimated because of the shutdown of the economy, because playing music in front of lots of people is what the profession is. And when you can't do that, you are stuck and you have nothing. So I hope them and anyone else in and entertainment and tourism, hotel, restaurant management, where travel has been really severely damaged and things of that nature. I hope that this provides some relief for you and your family. So, okay. And it does say here, by the way, if you're just listening and not able to look and you're driving, it's a 1.9 trillion stimulus package. It will provide $300 in weekly unemployment benefits through September, sending $1,400 payments to Americans and direct $350 billion to state and local governments. Just as a side note, as a professional musician, thank God I'm also a YouTuber, I've yet to receive one stimulus check from the federal government. And yes, I have pursued them to get it, and to no avail. XRP ledger-based DeFi Flare Finance launches Oracle's Flare Finance, revealed that its pioneering decentralized Oracle network and signal service, hashtag DeFi Oracles, will go live soon. Now, this is getting exciting because, remember, you have Flare Networks and then Flare Finance. They are two separate things, but nevertheless, I see enormous potential for Flare Networks and Flare Finance and everything involved with what they are doing. Now, none of this is financial advice, obviously. I'm just sharing my perspectives. This is XRP Crypto. Well, thank you, my friend, and I hope you and your family are doing well as well. Now, this is Frank Giestra, if I think I'm saying his last name correctly, from Fiora Corporation. And obviously, he's a gold guy, so I want to give full disclosure on that. But I do want you to listen and hear how what he says aligns with a lot of the conversations we have here. You know, will Bitcoin make it long term? I don't know, but I think so. I believe that it will be here long term. There's enough people to believe in it, but it's more about how governments see it and how they will choose to regulate it going forward. Remember, when it comes to regulatory framework, we don't have a unified framework that is in place that could let all of us know what all of these assets really are, right? So far, it's been a one-off, you can pass, you can't, you can pass, you can't, regulating through enforcement, which is not a solution make. So let's go ahead and listen to this quick clip right here, and shout out to Real XRP Boy for this one. Check it out.
People, I've watched all of the YouTube videos with all of these really smart guys talking about why they can't take down Bitcoin, even if they wanted to. And I've read and listened, and I think, I beg to differ. I think that you can never underestimate the resolve of governments and central banks when they're trying to protect their currency. You've heard of currency and capital controls. They've been part of our history in many countries, including the US. It came in the form of making the ownership of gold illegal in 1933, which lasted 40 years. That was a form of capital control to protect the US dollar. You saw it in pre-1979 Britain, where there were currency controls. You saw it in South Africa. You saw it in pre-war Germany. You saw it as recently as 2015 in Greece. Okay, so currency and capital controls, or a method by which to use that philosophy against Bitcoin, is a possibility, and you have to take that into account. So although I think that Bitcoin is going to go a lot higher, I don't think it's anywhere near replacing gold. And I don't think we're seeing any evidence that the major owners of gold, the institutions, are switching from gold to Bitcoin. You're seeing obviously a few big names like Paul Tudor Jones. I know he's been a big advocate of this, and I'm sure he's going to make a lot of money out of this. But it's not a general view in the investing public, and certainly not with the institutions, and certainly not with the central banks. Central banks own gold. They don't own Bitcoin. And gold is a core part of their currency reserves and always will be. And if they do anything, they will issue their own digital currency. They're not going to be buying Bitcoin, because they're going to try with all their power to undermine Bitcoin. And so that's my view on it. And again, I don't have a crystal ball. I may be completely wrong, but my every fiber in my body.
Every fiber in his being is saying to him, and I've listened to the rest of the interview, and it's fantastic. Shout out to Daniela Cambone and Stansberry Research for that material, and Real XRP Boy. What he's saying here basically is what we've talked about on this channel, is that the real concern here, and believe me, I'm a Bitcoin holder, so I'm asking this question not from the stands. I'm down on the field. I'm playing. I'm holding. I'm at risk. So I'm asking the questions, just like we do with XRP, just like we've done about Ethereum, right? And right now, the question is, obviously, you cannot stop the tech, as Jay Clayton even recognized, that you have to embrace it or it will innovate around you. Well, it's not exactly true. The tech can remain, and you're not going to shut down the tech. That part is true. But they could regulate it into and out of existence if they want to. And there's a concern, right? If you want to really get real, he's telling you they could regulate it out of existence. And for me, and it's just me. I'm not trying to sell anybody a used car. But for me, that's why I keep telling you I'm stacking my pennies next to their dollars. Who are there? Who are they? They are the elite of the world, the central banks. And I know that they're working with XRP. Not guessing anymore. That's not a guess. It used to be speculation, used to be things that we found internal documents about. Well, we don't have to do that anymore and it's nice when we do find those things still. But the reality is that Ripple's told us flat out in their advertising that they got a private fork on the XRP ledger for central banks. And they're not doing that because they're not going to use it. They're going to use it, which would also mean if, you're pretty good with your going ahead and putting the math on the board here, would also mean that the central banks are holding XRP, whether it's in a holding company separate from the central bank or however it's going to be, or maybe they're holding an option position like Greg Kidd does on a billion XRP. However it goes, they're in the game. So the ultimate end goal is to use a bridge currency that could work. And it's not Bitcoin, unfortunately, but that doesn't mean Bitcoin won't be here long term. So just know that you hear these things, you understand what's in front of it. And at some point, not too far in the distant future, I think we're going to see a unified framework released for the digital asset space. I can't wait for the day, and this conversation will be over. And we will know what the fallout will be. And that's that, right? That's what I'm waiting for. Here is one more step closer to that. Ripple scores a legal victory with Tetragon and loses its court case against Ripple. Very quickly here, this is about the Tetragon investment that they had made. And they tried to sue Ripple because they had a contractual agreement that if it was found to be a security, they would get all of their money back. And they tried to sue Ripple a little too soon because it was only alleged by the SEC. A Delaware Chancery Court judge has agreed that there has been no decision on whether XRP is in fact a security. So Tetragon needs to sit your $5 ass down before they make change. And that's where that's at. And Ripple is hiring a senior data engineering manager. Ripple's senior database engineering manager will guide the design and evolution of Ripple's multi-cloud, multi-region production database strategy. Now, what do you suppose they're doing that for? Design and evolution of Ripple's multi-cloud, multi-region production database strategy, because they've got customers and partners all over the world. Don't believe it. It's still true. You're about to find out. Sologenic is going to be launching off the XRP ledger. By the end of this month, they say, they'll be launching their decentralized exchange. Now, this is exciting because we're seeing companies and business models launch off the ledger. We saw BitTrue use XRP as its base currency, essentially, for their exchange. We see Sologenic choosing to launch their decentralized exchange off of the XRP ledger open source technology, which you can do trades and settle out with either Solo token or XRP itself, right? Beautiful. smooth. And by the way, Bob Rass is in the movie Cryptonaires, which has been picked up by a distributor. As soon as we have a release date from them, we will let you know. And the only thing I can tell you ahead of time is Gene Simmons from Kiss is in it and every other creator in this space. And I can also tell you that every one of you will be able to see the movie for free. That's a beautiful thing. I'll keep you posted. Now, with that being said, Ripple is piloting a private version of the XRP Ledger open source technology for central banks to issue their stablecoins off of. Get some. And I'll tell you, it's a big deal, and that we keep that as the focus of understanding because the SEC knows what the story is. They said in the original complaint they had widespread adoption. They achieved non-cash agreement, widespread adoption with market makers. Well, who are market makers? Payment providers, remittance companies, right? Sophisticated financial institutions and central banks. So, they understand that, look, that's why Ripple's being sued. They're not being sued because they didn't achieve those things, because there really wouldn't be a need to sue them. Right? You just, hey, we're finding you. What you did was wrong. And now you're going to go back out and then it's over. No, this is a much bigger deal because, for one, there's a nonprofit foundation now created behind the XRP ledger, as well as Ripple, the company itself. So there's a lot of different details in here that really provide a legal precedent, or a chance to get a legal precedent if done properly, that can really help define the entire digital asset space through the case of Ripple and the SEC. All right. Now, one of the things I wanted to say here is, according to Ripple Labs, the SEC has no business regulating XRP because it is a medium of exchange. Exactly. The company stresses that XRP is utilized in international and domestic transactions. Thus, it's not a security, which is really great. We will see how that goes. We know Gary Gensler feels different. We will keep very close eye on this to see if Gary Gensler has any impact at all, even though he's not confirmed yet. I don't know if they will even consider hearing his voice before being confirmed, or if they will get him confirmed before they have some kind of a settlement agreement. But if they do, it'll be interesting to see if at all he has any impact on the outcome of that by influencing the judge on the SEC's stance. So we'll keep an eye on that. This is a clip from Jamel Kaz, and I want to thank you for this clip because this is a gentleman talking about Ripple, and the adoption has already taken place. And the banks and the central banks want to use the asset XRP, but they're never going to until they get the clarity. Now, there's people out here listening to this right now, and they're going, Brad, they've already got the clarity in Singapore. They've already got the clarity in Japan. They've already got the clarity in the UK. Yada, 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 bit, bam, boom. I got it. Don't send me the email. Don't send me the DM. I'm with you, right? You're preaching to the pew. I'm sitting in it. You know what I mean? But here's the deal. Why hasn't the rest of the world started to use it then? The biggest red flag, or the biggest signal or indicator, not a red flag, but the biggest indicator that tells me that this is a globally coordinated effort, because the rest of the world does have clarity in a lot of other places. And if I had clarity in Japan, I would be asking the question too. Well, why aren't we using it, getting the first mover advantage right here in Japan? We could drive it to $100, just all of us. Well, this is the biggest indicator that it is a global effort, and that everyone is waiting for the largest economy of the world, which is the United States. And I think when we get through this case, we're going to see a massive explosion. Listen to this gentleman tell you what is already in position and who is waiting for the clarity so they can use it. Listen to this.
The problem is in the lack of the regulatory certainty. What's happened is you've seen a lot of institutions pop up that actually create more of a risk around the regulatory issue, where you've seen, the crypto exchanges being hacked and, the lost funds. It's because the experts that manage markets that exist today, they can't adopt it because it's just not possible. For those who follow Ripple, you'll see all the time people saying, the banks, they're not using XRP. They can't yet. Many of them have worked with it. They've tested the use of XRP. But until there's regulatory certainty, they can't leverage it today.
Which is interesting to me because, then it takes you right back to this. Just like I told you the other day, they announced publicly that they're piloting a private version of the XRP ledger. It's a private fork for central banks. And what did I say the other day? I said the other day, you would be foolish to think that they haven't already tested and piloted it privately so they understand what the outcomes are, right? They're not going to do this in front of everybody and publicly do it and not know what the outcome will be and then tell you 2 months later, well, we screwed the pooch on that one. That's not how real businesses handle what they're doing. And if you notice, Ripple has been amazing at being front-facing with success, right? Because they backtest the failures, figure those out, and broadcast and promote the success, right? Which is what any successful business tries to do. So I think Ripple's done a great job of that. So with this, this is where I ask you again, if you understand what I'm saying here and you understand what this gentleman is laying down to you, they've already done the work. Which tells me that you couldn't convince me otherwise that there isn't simulators out here that they've used during these tests that they've done without us knowing, because it's none of our business, it's retail investors, right? You couldn't convince me that there is not been a simulator done, that they don't already know how much XRP needs to be in value to handle the transaction volume on that private fork. Let's listen to the rest of what he says.
So that's where we work with other types of institutions within the regulatory framework that don't have the same type of regulatory pressure on their side, that still, again, complies with the KYC, AML type of checks. But they're taking that stepped approach of using, what they can from blockchain aspects in our other products to enable fiat-to-fiat currency payment settlement. So we're big advocates. Every time before we can work with a bank the first time in a country, there has to be that regulatory certainty, that the bank gets the clearance from the central bank, that they can use our software. And the amazing thing is that we've seen
that the bank gets the clearance that they can use their software. Now, we know that there's a ton of banks using Ripple software that aren't central banks, don't we? Yes, we do. The answer is yes, we do. And he just told you that they had to get the clearance and approval to do that from the central banks.
Some significant developments. One of the announcements we had earlier this year was SAMA, the Saudi Arabian Monetary Authority. They actually brought a group of banks together to create an initiative using Ripple for cross-border payments. So in that case, we're actually seeing an increased adoption from central banks. And one of the amazing things when we talk to different companies and prospects is if you look at our adoption is absolutely east to west across the globe.
Wow. I got to be honest. I mean, that's a powerful minute 58 right there from that gentleman about Ripple and XRP and about the very, very real connections that they have with Ripple and XRP, and they want to use it. He made it very clear. I tell you, this is just more evidence to me that XRP is poised for an absolute Cambrian explosion, as Chris Larson says, with the use and the adoption of XRP. That's going to do it for me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Make sure you share with somebody you know and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. I Trust Capital is the best crypto, gold, silver IRA. Reach out to the staff and team. They're a wonderful crew, and they will help you get straight on anything that you may need. Make sure you check out all the links in the description and comment box. They are vetted, trusted links. I'll catch all of you on the next one.